In a world where everyone wants to be heard, you take the time to listen. We've been taught that sharing is strength, that openness brings connection, that telling your story means owning your truth. But what if I told you the strength is in silence? This is the lesson I learned the hard way, and today I'm sharing it with you, so you don't have to learn it the same way I did. There was a time when I believed sharing everything about myself would bring me closer to others. I thought being open, being vulnerable was the way to earn trust. That if people knew my dreams, my struggles, and my story, they'd understand me better. They'd care more, support me more, love me more. So I talked a lot. I told people about my goals before they took shape. I shared my pain before I healed from it. I exposed my wounds, thinking someone out there might protect them. But they didn't. Some people smiled and nodded, but didn't really listen. Others listened only to judge. And some saved my words for later, to use as weapons when things went wrong. What I realized is this: oversharing doesn't build connection, it builds exposure. The more you talk, the more vulnerable you become, not in a meaningful, emotional way, but in a dangerous, careless way. You're handing out pieces of your soul to people who may not value it, and in doing so, you weaken your focus, your energy, and even your confidence. Not everyone deserves access to your truth. Not everyone has earned the right to know what's in your heart. You don't have to open every door just because someone knocks. You don't need to post your entire life just to prove you're living it. Sometimes, silence speaks more loudly than any story you could ever tell. Oversharing doesn't just expose your life. It opens you up to pain you didn't ask for. I remember telling someone about a dream I had. Something personal. Something that mattered to me. At first, they nodded with a polite smile, said, "Wow, that's amazing." But later, every time I hit a wall, they'd remind me, "So how's that big dream of yours going?" Their tone wasn't supportive. It was mocking. That one comment stuck with me longer than it should have, because when you open up to the wrong person, you don't just lose privacy, you lose power. The truth is, some people don't want to see you grow. They feel threatened by your ambition, by your change. So they act supportive, while secretly hoping you'll fail. Worse than that, some people pretend to care, just to collect your secrets. They don't give advice. They don't offer support. They just listen and store like ammunition. And one day, when things fall apart, they know exactly where to hit you. Oversharing gives people a map of your weaknesses, and not everyone will use that map to help you. It took me years to realize that most people don't deserve to know the deepest parts of me because they haven't shown me they can handle them with care. These days, I still talk, I still connect, but I've learned to do it wisely, to speak from strength, not from desperation. And more importantly, to keep some parts of myself only for me. You might wonder, why do we feel the need to share so much in the first place? The answer is simple and human. We want to be seen. We want to be understood. We want someone, anyone, to tell us that we matter. In this world full of noise and speed, silence feels like loneliness. And oversharing becomes a way to fill the silence with connection, even if it's shallow. Some people share because they're excited, some because they're scared, Most share because they're seeking approval. You share your plans hoping someone will say, "That's amazing, go for it." You share your pain hoping someone will say, "That must have been hard, I'm here for you." It's a cry for validation, for belonging. And it's normal. But here's the danger. When you rely on others to validate your path, you give them the power to derail it. Every dream you expose becomes subject to someone else's opinion. Every emotion you reveal becomes open to judgment. Every plan you announce becomes a performance. You now feel pressured to deliver one even when you're not ready. And social media only makes it worse. We've been trained to share everything. What we eat, where we go, what we think, who we love. It's as if our lives need to be constantly broadcast to be real. But some of the most beautiful things in life grow best in silence. Just because you feel something deeply doesn't mean the world needs to know it. Sometimes, the most sacred parts of your journey are meant to stay private. Most people think the danger of oversharing lies in being judged or betrayed. And yes, that's part of it. But there's another, cost quieter, deeper, and harder to recognize. You dilute your energy every time you speak about your goals instead of working on them. You trade momentum for attention. Every time you vent your pain to people who don't deserve it, you reopen wounds that were starting to heal. Every time you explain yourself to someone who doesn't even understand your journey, you begin to question if the path you're on is even worth it. This is the hidden cost of being too open. You scatter your focus. You weaken your drive. You confuse your direction. Because not every reaction you get will be kind. Some will be dismissive. Some will be envious. Some will sound supportive but will plant quiet doubts inside you. And without realizing it, those doubts grow louder than your own voice. You begin to shrink your dreams to feed their comfort. You water yourself down to become more relatable. You lose parts of yourself just to feel accepted. That is a high price to pay for a connection that's not even real. You see, privacy isn't about being secretive. It's about protecting the things you're still growing, the things not yet strong enough to survive the opinions of others. Some things are meant to be kept close until they're strong enough to stand on their own. There is a kind of power that doesn't shout. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't post updates. It doesn't beg for recognition. It's quiet. It's steady. It's rooted. That power is silence. The most powerful people I've met in life aren't the ones who talk the most. They're the ones who say little because they're too busy doing. They don't announce what they're working on. They just work. And one day, you see the results, and you wonder how it all happened. The answer: in silence, in privacy, in peace. When you stop needing the world to witness your every move, you gain something far more valuable: clarity. You think more clearly. You move more intentionally. You hear your own voice without the noise of opinions. You hear your own voice without the noise of opinions. Privacy gives you space to grow without pressure, without comparisons, without expectations placed on you by people who don't walk in your shoes. And silence sharpens you. It allows your mind to settle. It gives your spirit room to breathe. It's in that quiet that ideas mature, that healing happens, that strength is built. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth. You don't need to document every step of your journey. Let your work speak. Let your presence speak. Let your peace speak. Because when silence enters a room with purpose, it echoes louder than 1,000 words. Keeping your life private doesn't mean you shut people out. It means you become intentional about what you share and with whom. Not everyone in your life deserves the same level of access. Some people are safe for small talk, nothing more. Others have earned a place in your deeper world through time, loyalty, and trust. So before you share something important, ask yourself, does this person have the capacity to carry what I'm about to give them? Have they shown me that they honor what I say, even in my absence? Are they curious about me, or just nosy? It's okay to be reserved. It's okay to pause before speaking, and it's okay to say, I'd rather keep that to myself. In fact, that's a sign of maturity, not coldness. When you give everything to everyone, you leave nothing for yourself. Your emotional energy becomes scattered. Your mental clarity becomes clouded. But when you protect your inner world, you start attracting people who respect boundaries because you've set them. And here's the truth. The right people won't demand you to overshare. They won't rush you. They'll make space for your silence and feel honored when you choose to speak. Because when something is rare, it's more valuable. And in a world where everyone is broadcasting, the quiet ones become magnetic. There comes a point in life where you realize you don't need to explain, you just need to execute. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You just need to show up every day and do the work. The loudest person in the room is often the least certain, but the one who moves in silence, who builds without announcing, who grows without boasting. That's the one you eventually respect, because in the end, words fade, promises break, intentions shift, but results remain. Every time you feel tempted to share your next move, ask yourself, am I doing this for validation, or am I doing this for myself? If the answer is validation, pause. If the answer is ego, wait. But if the answer is growth, then don't speak. Just move quietly, consistently, relentlessly. There's a kind of satisfaction that only comes when your success surprises people, not out of spite, but because it came from a place of discipline, not performance. And there's a kind of peace that settles in when you know you're building something real, even if no one's clapping for you yet. Let your habits speak. Let your discipline speak. Let your results speak. Because the people who once doubted you, they'll go silent. And the ones who believed in you, they never needed the speech in the first place. A quiet life isn't a boring life, it's a powerful one. Because in the silence, you get to hear your own thoughts. In the privacy, you get to build without pressure. And in the stillness, you discover who you really are. Away from the noise, away from the need to be seen. We live in a world that rewards the loud, but most of what truly matters happens quietly. Growth doesn't make a sound. Healing doesn't announce itself. Discipline doesn't ask for applause, but their effects, they show up in time. Not through posts, not through speeches, but through presence, through peace, through unshakable confidence. You don't have to be mysterious. You just have to be intentional. Let people wonder what you're up to. Let them ask why you've been so quiet lately. Let your absence speak, while your presence is quietly evolving. And when the time is right, when the foundation is strong, and the fruit is ready, let your life reveal what your lips never had to say. Protect your energy. Protect your goals. Protect your peace. Not everyone deserves to walk with you. Not everyone has earned the right to know your story. So stay quiet. Stay focused. Stay grounded. And remember this: the best thing I ever did was stop telling people what's going on in my life. You don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to share everything to be understood. Sometimes your silence says more than your story ever could. Protect your peace. Guard your energy. Let your life speak for itself. If this message spoke to you, stick around. There's more to learn, more to unlearn, and more ways to live wisely.